Should I start, ma'am?
Wait, sir.
Oh,
Another madam have to come.
okay.
Just 2 minutes.
Yes,
Relax.
yes, yes.
Just
No,
2 minutes.
no problem, no problem.
I'm will join.
I just wanted to know whether I am audible from there or not because I arranged that from like
Yeah,
1:30 I was
yeah.
in the, yeah.
Audible now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. And good afternoon, ma'am. By the way, I didn't say that. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Nabi.
Morning, ma'am.
Sir, interview started, sir. Like, madam did sir. Only social.
Okay, so should I start?
Wait, Nabi. Wait for 2 minutes. Madam is joining.
Sure. I'm here only. No problem, sir. I was just worrying about the voice, but I'll speak loud to make it audible to all of you.
Fine.
Thank you so much, sir.
Your voice audible only, no problem.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to know. Thank you so much.
Board maybe. Okay.
Board,
Chalega.
ma'am, I cannot do anything with that because I just put it on
Oh,
chair.
okay, that's fine.
I just put it on chair and I managed where I can comfortably write that over there.
Okay.
This is what I could. Okay, ma'am. Just let me know once I'll start. And one more thing I would like to tell ma'am and sir, that I'll teach. Hello.
Hello? Madam. Okay, madam. I'll take care of that. Please, make them to fill the form. So, these are in the front office already. You know everything. Not a fill only. Actually, not a certificate. Seven rows of mandate certificate, madam. I know interview loan. Mandate certificate, one application.
for starting business or trade. So 1600 they came, and from the 1600 to 1757, for the year 157 years. 157 years they did nothing. Means the Britishers did nothing, just trade. Means intentionally, even we cannot understand their intention till now, we cannot connect with that, but what we can imagine that just they came for traders, because this is what the textbook is saying, this is what the NCERT most authentic books are saying about the history, that 1600 they came, and 1757 till that Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey, the most important war, the most important battle in the history of India. And why it is so much significant, why it is so much relevant, the Battle of Plassey, this is what we have to understand through this chapter. The entire portion of this chapter is about that. From the 1757 and 1773, the another date, that's what about this chapter is more important, when they started ruling over us directly with the first regulating act. Yes, now finally they came into the power. Power as in they captured the territory, they started ruling. First they came as traders, that we have nothing to do with your administration, we have nothing to do with your system, with your ruling system. There were many Mughals, there were many things. So the chapter starts from the trade to territory. The chapter starts as with the name of Aurangzeb. That's what we have to understand. So after this, all three important dates, 1600, 1757, 157 later, okay, and 1773. We have to start this chapter. Aurangzeb, the most important name here came. Aurangzeb. Who was he? We all know that it was a Mughal empire, the great empire, or we can say, as it is saying, powerful Mughal rulers, the last of the powerful Mughal rulers. He died in the year 1707. 1707, in the year 1707. And after that, what happened? Because he was an owner, you can say, an owner of a huge territory from India and that Pakistan. Today's Pakistan, obviously, the part of India at that time. So, after his death, many big or large zamindars and what is that, Mughal governors, subadars, that's what we know. They started mingling with the concept that they wanted to capture the territory of that. In Hindi, we call that apna apna hak batane lag gaye, apna apna hak jatane lage, and they started capturing the area. So a lot chaos happened at that time, a chaotic situation. Then, on one hand, this situation was going on. On the other hand, because I told you that the Britishers came when? In 1600. When Britishers came in 1600, and we are talking about 707, means after 107. We have to connect the year through this procedure so that we will never ever forget the dates in history. That makes history boring, so-called boring. Okay, so 107 years later, what happened in 1707 when Aurangzeb died? The Britishers started actually showing interest in the Britishers. And then what happened? In the next page of this, we have East India Company comes from East. So what happened in 1600? The Britishers, because as the company, East India Company, we call that, they started thinking about getting more and more raw materials, getting or purchasing from some another country, not just in India, from other countries as well, and to sell them to their continent, to their countries. So what happened when in 1600 they came here? They took permission from Elizabeth. Who was she? Obviously the Queen Elizabeth I, the queen of that. They took permission and they came here, and they also mentioned that we are going in India, not now, so not other European countries should go there, must not go there. Means they didn't want the competition. Because when we fight with each other, for example, European, when they fight with each other, how can they control over India? Hello, ma'am. How they can control, yeah, thank you. How they can control over India or other countries such like India or like that? such as India. So what happened? They came in 1600 and they started getting traditions. But at that time, it was not just Britishers, it was not just East India Company, but many Portuguese, many like Portuguese or Dutch or French people were also here with the same intention. What was that intention? Yes, to get the raw materials from here, and most probably the spices. Yes, they were in need of spices. What kind of specifically that is mentioned over here? Black pepper, cloves, cardamom, and cinnamon. What is that all? That's what we call kali mirchi, choti ilaichi, badi ilaichi, tezpat ka patta, sweet cumin, zira, saunf, and all. They were in need of that spices. They started getting from India, purchasing. Instead of saying getting, we should say purchasing. They started purchasing from India and sell to their country. And not just this, the later we'll learn that how they came over cotton, indigo, and all. That is what all were important for their industries, from the primary sector to the secondary sector. This is what their intention. That's what the chapter is about, trade to territory. They just came for with the intention of getting resources from here. So what we have in next part, that first they were avoiding this, getting fight with each other. But then when they had no option, they had no another opportunity, they started doing that. They started sinking each other's ships. They started sinking and they started harming others. What we are talking about? Whom? We are talking about French. We are talking about Dutch. We are talking about Portuguese, and obviously East India Company. That's what we have studied. Okay, so and one more important thing, that is what become most common questions from the modern history, and not just for this 8th class, 9th class, 10th class, but for an aspirant, if we are aspirant of civil service, UPSC and all. What is that? When did Vasco da Gama came to India? Yes, this is what the information we get from here. Vasco da Gama came in 1498, kind of explorer, not like Britishers, not as traders. He came as explorer. He found. It was nothing that when Vasco da Gama found India, that time India became India. No. India was there. We have our own history. But he put that, what we call courtesy. He took that. Okay, in 1499, who was he? He was also one of the Portuguese explorer, Vasco da Gama. That is what we get. And then we have East India Company begins trade in Bengal. Yes, the most important portion from this chapter. Finally, they established trading from all over India, specifically the Western Ghats. And when we do understand Western Ghat, when we say Western Ghats, means entire portion of that, Eastern Ghat, Western Ghat, where Goa, many Portuguese, that Goa, they were attracted from, and they were staying there. East India Company begins trade in Bengal, the first English factory on River Hooghly in 1651. That's what we can connect with this date as well. What is that? I told you that Britishers came in 1600. 51 का शगुन होता है, 51 rupees का शगुन होता है, inner rituals, inner system. So we can connect 51 का शगुन, 51s, as an lucky number. So 1651, after 51 years. 51 years later, when they came here, they established their first factory. But we have to understand that factory was not as a term as a factory as we do understand now. It was factor. And what was that? Obviously, when they were taking many things from here, not just spices, as we have already mentioned, but other raw materials as well. So when they got this materials and all, they wanted some space, hall, domes, under ceiling, in order to protect their materials, in order to save their materials. And obviously, जब भी हम कुछ खरीदते हैं, whenever we buy something, what we do? We keep for some time and then we resell it. Isn't it? The same thing. They started doing or making fortification, the terms over here, fortification. They started fortified here. अपना अपना इलाका स्टैब्लिश करने लग गए जहां पे वो मटेरियल को सेव कर सकते हैं. मीन्स दे स्टार्टेड मेंटेनिंग द फोर्ट्स, proper companies, factories, that term that we do understand now these days, factor they used to call at that time. Okay, so the first factory or the factor at that time they established in 1651, the river Hooghly, the most important, another most important question from this chapter and from history, modern history, and that becomes general knowledge for all type of government exams. Suppose if we'll do the government exam, we'll attempt the government exam. Okay, where in on Hooghly River, where in West Bengal, when in 1651. And how do we understand the 1651? 1600 they came. 51 का शगुन लगा देना है, 51 का शगुन लगा देना. After 51 years they started this. Okay, and then we do understand that after Aurangzeb, means post he died, what happened? Murshid Quli Khan, the another how trade led to battles, the another topic and the another title, that trade became the place of battle, war. अब ऐसा क्या हुआ, दैट्स व्हाट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. ऐसा क्या हुआ कि ये जो ट्रेड की पॉलिसी थी कि हमें सिर्फ खरीदना है और बेचना है रॉ मटेरियल्स देयर एंड वहां से फिर से उसको कमाना है, ये करना है, ऐसा क्या हुआ कि वो एक युद्ध का मैदान बन के तैयार हो गया. मीन्स व्हाट हैपेंड, व्हाट वर द कॉजेस, व्हाट वर द रीजंस, द कॉजेस दैट दे एस्टैब्लिश दिस process of trading as a battle war. The most important story over here, we shouldn't say history, as a story, as we are watching movie, we have to understand this as a movie. You have to connect yourself, you have to correlate yourself with that situation. This is what the good or ideal student actually does. Okay, so how trade led to battle, that's what we have to understand. Yeah, 3 or 4 most important name here. Murshid Quli Khan, and followed by Ali Vardi Khan, and one an important name over here, Sirajud-Dawla. Why I am saying it's important? Later we'll understand the another iconic personality, Tipu Sultan, the son of Hyder Ali. Later we'll understand in this chapter. But here it was Sirajud-Dawla. That they, ma'am, just 1 second. What happened after, means the death of that Aurangzeb? These were very famous iconic Nawab of Bengal, and obviously we are talking about Nawab. We are talking about Bengal. It means we are talking about that company that they established in 1651 on River Hooghly. Okay, so they became very powerful, strong leader. That's what the history is talking about. Among them are Sirajud-Dawla. What happened? That Sirajud-Dawla was most important personality in history. He was not in a mood to become a puppet Nawab as the Britishers wanted. What is the term puppet? That's the Rajasthani game. कठपुतली, अपने हाथों पे चलाना. Okay, अपने हाथों से चलाना किसी को. He was not in a mood, he was not in an intention to become a puppet Nawab. That is what they used to call Nabob. N-A-B-O-B. We call N-A-W-A-B. We know that Lakhnavi Nawab, Lakhnavi Andaz we have in history in CBSE and CRT, yes? So Nabob. He was not in a mood to become a puppet Nawab that is just supposed to work under the Britishers. So what happened? He said, no. What he said? He said, no, I'll not follow the instruction as you were saying. You have to follow my instructions because I am the Nawab here. I am the ruler. I'm not going to follow your instructions. First of all, he said, if you are maintaining that factory or factors, you have to pay the taxes. Because this is my land, you have to pay the taxes. Ma'am, am I audible? Sir?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. No, I was just getting...
That's okay. Can you tell me the difference, the impact of this Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar?
Yeah. Battle of Buxar, and yeah, I can. The consequences or the result or the factors, what happened later. Yes. Am I visible? Yeah. The impact of that Battle of Plassey, because it was most important or significant. What happened after that Battle of Plassey I'm talking about? Okay, when Sirajuddaulah was assassinated, Britishers directly, for the first time, directly they showed their intention that this time they are not going to just as a trade processor, but to rule. Although they didn't in 1757. That is what they did in 1773 at the first regulating act. But this is what they showed their intention for the first. It was the most important impact in Indian history. And the Battle of Buxar. The Battle of Buxar, the most important name, as we get that after Sirajuddaulah won, that they made Alivardi that he made after Sirajuddaulah Mir Jafar, the most important name over here, 1765. So the impact of Battle of Buxar was that after this, no Mughals or any Nawab like that, king or emperor, no one was raising their voice against the Britishers. They had. That's what we have in Madras, in Mussoorie, in Mysore. No, I'm saying Mussoorie. I'm sorry. Mysore, in Karnataka, the Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan. That's what we'll study later. But that is what most important impact that we found after Battle of Plassey or Battle of Buxar.
What is Diwani rights, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Diwani rights.
Diwani rights, ma'am, as the term itself is saying, Diwani rights. They wanted to give some power to those Diwans to collect the taxes according to their choices. They had some fixed criteria, not like that.
Okay. So any other topics from geography?
Yes, ma'am. From geography, I'll prefer forest and wildlife resources. The 10th class book, social science, 10th class geography book, forest and wildlife resources. Chapter number 2 again.
Apart from that, any other chapter, sir?
Sorry, ma'am?
Apart from that, any other chapter?
Yeah, anyone.
Instead of forest and wildlife resources?
Anyone. Anyone, for example, anything that we can, like agriculture, we can go with, or water resources, or resources and development.
Agriculture, sir?
Okay, agriculture. Just give me 3 seconds. Yes. Chapter number 4. Agriculture from geography, 10th class. First of all, ma'am, I'll just teach as I'm among these students, okay? If you don't mind. Yeah, so why do we understand agriculture and why it is so important to understand the agriculture? Obviously, we are not going to become a farmer or a peasant. Then why it is so much important? That is what we have in our textbook. First, we have to connect. Because many students think that there are many material, a lot of material in our chapters, in our CBSE textbook or other textbooks, those not relevant. But it is not like that. This is what we do understand. The agriculture is most of the important chapter, that one of the most important chapters, as we have others. What and why? First of all, we have to understand the connection between the agriculture and the Indian economy. The agriculture, if we'll understand, so we'll understand the types of farming, we'll understand the situations or conditions of farmers, and we will also understand the policies of central governments as well as the state governments towards the farming, towards the agriculture world. And agriculture, when we are talking about one term, first we have to make post-mortem of this word. Post-mortem, as I usually say, means agriculture we have to understand in all other aspects. It's not just about farming. It's not just about farming. Agriculture is also about the policies regarding agriculture, policies regarding farmers, policies regarding farmings, types of farmings. In what season, in what, that's what we call weather season. Yeah, different season. What type of crops we get, what type of, and it is what we should also have some knowledge when we face the crisis and all. It is because when we don't create a generation to understand the agriculture portion. So what do we have here? Types of farming. First of all, we have chapter here, types of farming. Primitive subsistence farming. Primitive subsistence farming. This is what the geography is actually trying to make us understand, the different types of geographical chapters. Primitive subsistence farming, zooming, the most important part, zooming. So different types of this, and commercial farming. What do we understand with that, zooming and commercial? And why do we need to understand that? Because it is the part of farming where in India, maybe in Assam, maybe in a hilly station, because we cannot say all others geographical area are same in same crops. No. Hilly stations are different than the southern portion, or those areas were very close to the eastern Ghats or western Ghats. Okay, so in Assam, the type of farming is different. Himachal Pradesh, it's different. Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, totally different because of their irrigation and all. Okay, so the zooming, the slash and burn agriculture, the synonymous that we do understand, slash and burn. Get the area, capture the area, burn the waste plants or those things, bushes, herbs, and grow your own for the few months, for some time. Okay, so is known as milpa in Mexico and Central America, canoa, Venezuela, roca in Brazil. That's what. In India, the primitive form of cultivation is called bewar. What is that? Bemar, dahiya in Madhya Pradesh, Podu and all. So what is that basically? It is something, the the category of zooming farming. Basically what they do, they capture the area, they burn those bushes from there, and they grow their important crops. And when they find that the soil is becoming less important, okay, they change the pace. They change, and when they burn that area, they also use those ashes to fertilize their soil, to fertilize their land. Okay, so then we have commercial farming. Many questions comes, and then general knowledge and all from this portion, from this part or the subtopic of that, commercial farming. What do we understand with that term, commercial farming? Commercial, we can connect with that commerce, vyapar, business. Okay, commercial farming. The main characteristics of this type of farming is the use of higher doses of modern inputs. Higher doses of modern inputs. Example, high yielding variety. That's what the short form HYV. High yielding variety. High or good types of, best types of seeds, chemical fertilizers, insecticides and pesticides. Why do we use that? Obviously, we have that much burst of population and we have to fulfill their stomach, their need, their demand, their desire of those crops, those wheat, those grains, those vegetables, those fruits. So in order to fulfill that, we use high quality type qualitative terms over here. The technology, the scientific methods. Okay, so what is there? The degree of commercialization of agriculture varies from one, means it is different, varies from one region to another. It is different from one region to another. For example, rice is a commercial crop in Haryana and Punjab, but in Odisha it is a subsistence crop. It is not a very important one. And that is what the food style as well. It is also based on that. For example, South Indian people use more rices, and Northern Indian people, specifically where I am here in Delhi, we prefer chapati and rice. It is not something that we should fight on that. It is basically because of that agriculture criteria, that geographical, that is what we are studying here, the geographical condition. Accordingly, we are growing ourselves. Then plantinum is also a type of commercial farming. It is the type of farming a single crop is grown on a large area. On a large area, when we grow single crops, instead of growing small things and small factors, we grow large area of that on large, so we get the quantity of that is, as well as the quality. Obviously we get the quantity of that crops and all. Okay, so there we have this food crops, grains, cropping patterns. This is what we have to understand: the rabi, kharif, zaid, and the major crops they have mentioned. What is their major crops? Okay, like rice.
That's okay. Can you draw India map and show the staple crops that are grown in different states?
Map. Yes. Major area and minor area. Here we have distribution of wheat. Yeah. See, this is distribution of rice. So where we can find this green area, these are light green area. We have this major area where in distribution of rices. Where distribution of rices is green areas we can find, for example, in the Eastern Ghats, West Bengal, Bihar, the Eastern Uttar Pradesh, okay, and then Chhattisgarh, and coming to the down like Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and all, Karnataka. Okay, here we have distribution of wheat. We can find the difference here. The wheat in the western part, in the Eastern Ghats and all, from the top to the last, we were getting rice, but when we are talking about the wheat, we have major areas as Punjab, Haryana.
Draw India map, sir.
Sorry, ma'am.
So, explain it and whatever you draw. First draw India map on the board and explain it, sir.
Okay,
Not
okay.
in the textbook.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. See, my dear students, this is what we have here. For example, this is obviously this is our India, not a good art over here. Yeah. So when we are talking about, ma'am, just 1 second, give me. When we are talking about maps, we have to understand this is Eastern Ghat we consider. This is the Western Ghat we consider. When we are talking about wheat, what we are talking about? Wheat. So the most or major important areas are this: Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, okay, and that Madhya Pradesh, and like that area. These are the major areas. For what? For distribution of wheat we are talking about. Okay, but there are other states as well. For example, Eastern Uttar Pradesh, the Jharkhand, and here we can connect with the Rajasthan and Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, and here the northern part of Maharashtra. Okay, but on the other hand, if we are talking about rice, first we discuss about the wheat. Now, when we talk about the rice, now rice. What we have discussed, these areas were important for wheat. Now, if we are talking about rice, we can say that most of the northeast part, like Assam and eastern Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and entire Western Ghat. Yes, including Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and those specific states I'm talking about. Okay, and this like Tamil Nadu and all. And this is also the reason that these people, including Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, or southern India, most of they use rice instead of wheat. Instead of chapati, they use rice. All types of rice. We have Hyderabadi biryani as well, very famous, and all like that. So this is what the products of rice and wheat on Indian map. That's what. Yes, ma'am. So we have to understand the Eastern Ghat and the Western Ghat, and we have to connect the states, and obviously we can also correlate the situation where people eat most of the things.
Sir, can you explain physical features of India?
Yes, ma'am.
Physical features.
Physical features of India. Yes, ma'am.
Main physical features of India.
Yes, ma'am. See, my dear students, why we do say that our India is great? Obviously, every single citizen of every single country, respectively, they say their country is best, their country is great. But when we are talking about our own motherland, India, we can connect the situations with the geography. That even if you are citizen of India, you can connect with all type of season, weather at one time. At one time, in May and June, where it's a scorching sunlight in many of the plains areas, scorching sunlight, burning hell kind of situation, hot, extremely hot. You may shift to the northern part, hilly stations. Northern part, hilly stations where we have Himalayas. Where we have Himalayas that connects to the Nepal. And from Jammu Kashmir to that northeastern, that's what we call Seven Sisters, northeastern states, including Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, and all. Same way, if you come to the Eastern Ghat and Western Ghat, that is very close to the Arabian Sea or Bay of Bengal or Indian Ocean, you will find the soft weather. That means not extremely hot, not extremely cold. For example, in Maharashtra, you may just live in one shirt. Okay, same place. If you come to the Delhi, it's cold today. But if you're talking about South India, it is hot. If we go to the top, it is snowfall you may find here. So the northern part, in the hilly station, if you find the -degree temperature, you may get, if you're lucky. Snowfall you may get that. In this, scorching sunlight. Okay, when you come to the down, you
That's
get.
okay, sir. That's okay.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, Nirija ma'am, do you have something?
Okay. No.
Okay. Okay, sir. Then I'll get back to you, sir. I'm leaving. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.